students. I hope you enjoyed Natural Resources Part 2. Watching how rainfall occurs with the wonderful images of the water cycle, the way the atmosphere is being polluted, and how the water acts as a wonderful liquid. Now, let's focus on one more important natural resource, soil. Learning objectives. By the end of this video, you would learn about one more natural resource, soil. Minerals rich in soil and how soil is formed, along with various responsible factors for soil formation. Keywords: biodiversity, weathering, acidification, carbonation, hydrolysis, soil erosion, percolation. Minerals rich in the soil. Soil is an important resource that decide the diversity of life in an area. But what is a soil and how is it formed? Soil is formed from the weathering of rocks. What is weathering? Weathering is the breaking down or dissolving of rocks and minerals on the earth's surface. The outermost layer of our earth is called the crust, and the minerals found in this layer supply a variety of nutrients to life forms. However, these minerals will not be available to the organisms if the minerals are just bound up in used rocks. Over long periods of time, like thousands and millions of years, the rocks at or near the surface of the earth are broken down by various physical factors like temperature, pressure, frost, root action, and burrowing animals. Chemical factors include water hydrolysis, oxygen, oxidation, acids, acidification, carbon dioxide, carbonation, and organisms that are living on the earth like lichens and some biological process. The end product of this breaking down is the fine particles of soil. But what are the factors or process that make soil? The sun. The sun heats rock during the day so that they expand. At night, these rocks cool down and contract. Since all parts of the rock do not expand and contract at the same rate, this results in the formation of cracks and ultimately the huge rocks break up into smaller pieces. Water. Water helps in the formation of soil in two ways. 1. Water could get into the cracks formed in the rocks due to uneven heating by the sun. If this water later freezes, it would cause the cracks to widen. Observe carefully. Flowing water wears away even hard rocks over long periods of time. Fast-flowing water often carries along big and small particles of rocks downstream. These rocks rub against other rocks, and the resultant abrasion causes the rocks to wear down into smaller and smaller particles. The water then takes these particles along with it and deposits them further down its path. Soil is thus found in places far away from its parent rock. Wind. In a process similar to how water rubs against rocks and wears them down, strong winds also erode rocks. The wind also carries sand from one place to other like water does. Living organisms also influence the formation of soil. The lichens that we talked about earlier also grow on the surface of rocks. While growing, they release certain substances that cause the rock surface to powder down and form a thin layer of soil. Other small plants like moss can grow on this surface now and they cause the rock to break up further. The roots of big trees sometimes get into the cracks of the rocks, and as the roots grow bigger, the cracks are forced bigger. Activity. Take some soil and put into a beaker containing water. The water should be at least 5 times the amount of the soil taken. Stir the soil and water vigorously and allow the soil to settle down. Observe after some time. As you would have seen, soil is a mixture. It contains small particles of rock of different sizes. It also contains bits of decayed living organisms, which is called humus. In addition to this, soil also contains various forms of microscopic life. The type of the soil is decided by the average size of particles found in it. And the quality of the soil is decided by the amount of humus and the microscopic organisms found in it. Humus is a major factor in deciding the soil structure because it causes the soil to become more porous and allows water and air to penetrate deep underground. The mineral nutrients that are found in a particular soil depend on the rocks it was formed from. The nutrient content of the soil, the amount of humus present in it, and the depth of the soil are some of the factors that decide which plants will thrive on that soil. Thus, the topmost layer of the soil that contains humus and living organisms in addition to the soil particles is called the topsoil. The quality of the topsoil is an important factor that decides biodiversity in that area. Modern farming practices involve the use of large amounts of fertilizers and pesticides. The use of these substances over long periods of time can destroy the soil structure by killing the soil microorganisms that recycle the nutrients of the soil. It also kills the earthworms that are instrumental in making rich humus. Fertile soil can quickly be turned barren if sustainable practices are not followed. Removal of useful components from the soil and the addition of other substances which adversely affect the fertility of the soil and kill the diversity of organisms that live in it is called soil pollution. The soil that we see today in one place has been created over a very long period. However, some of the factors that created the soil in the first place and brought the soil to that place may be responsible for the removal of the soil too. The fine particles of soil may be carried away by flowing water on the wind. If all the soil gets washed away and the rocks underneath is exposed, we will lose a valuable resource because very little will grow on the rocks. Activity: take two identical trays and fill them with soil. Plant mustard or green gram or paddy in one of the trays and water both the trays regularly for a few days till the first tray is covered by plant growth. Now, tilt both the trays and fix them in that position. Make sure that both the trays are tilted at the same angle. Pour an equal amount of water gently on both trays such that the water flows out of the trays. Study the amount of soil that is carried out of the trays. Is the amount the same in both the trays? Now, pour equal amounts of water on both the trays from a height. Pour 3 or 4 times the amount that you poured earlier. Study the amount of soil that is carried out of the trays now. Is the amount of soil same in both the trays? Is the amount of soil that is carried out more or less equal to the amount washed out earlier? The roots of plants have an important role in preventing soil erosion. The large-scale deforestation that is happening all over the world not only destroys biodiversity, it also leads to soil erosion. Topsoil that is barren of vegetation is likely to be removed very quickly. And this is accelerated in hilly or mountainous regions. This process of soil erosion is very difficult to reverse. Vegetative cover on the ground has a role to play in the percolation of water into the deeper layers too. Points to remember: weathering is the breaking down or dissolving of rocks and minerals on Earth's surface. Various factors like the sun, water, wind, and living organisms play an important role in the disintegration of rocks. Trees play a main role in preventing soil erosion. Deforestation causes soil erosion. And desertification and destroys biodiversity. The removal of useful components from the soil and the addition of other substances which affect the fertility of the soil is called soil pollution. Thank you for watching this video.